Alright, so in case you missed it on the old Twitterverse, on the YouTube side of Twitter, or X now, I don't care, I'm going to dead name Twitter, it's going to be Twitter always, but there was a little bit of drama in the YouTube sphere, the Kick Twitch stream sphere of YouTube over there, and it basically revolves around a Kick streamer named XQC. I really hadn't heard too much about who this guy was until he made that big switch over to Kick, signed this massive contract deal with them to get bought out over there. And after Let Me Know published his JFK video, which is a tremendous video, very good, you should definitely go watch that. After he posted that, XQC did a reaction stream to it, and he basically also cut that down and uploaded it to his YouTube channel. And he did like a two-parter. I think both parts were like 40 minutes long and all that. And some people, like Mudahar, Ordinary Gamers, the Act Man called him out. A few others, like Knowing Better, Cody over there at Alternate History Hub. They called him out and they're like, dude, Let Me Know probably spends a year or so looking this up, doing all of the research, writing down the script, getting voice actors, doing the 3D models and everything, and he still gets millions of views, as he should. But then XQC also gets millions of views for basically just, not even reacting. I've seen reaction channels on YouTube. There are some that are pretty good. I do have people who react to my content, like Kabir Considers. And he's pretty good because he genuinely seems interested in what I'm talking about. And he'll like, oh yeah, I have heard about that, or oh, I didn't know that, it's crazy. And then he'll, tell his own story that pertains to the information that he just learned. And he'll spin off something from that. So he's actually adding something to it. XQC doesn't do that. He's just like, oh wow, that's crazy, I had no idea. And then he shuts up and he goes back to it. And then people found out that on his streams, he just gets up and leaves for sometimes 5 or 10 minutes. He'll just get up and leave, go fuck off and do something else. He's like, oh, I was using the bathroom or whatever. Like, well, you could pause the video, but that would drive down viewership. There'd be nothing to watch, so people wouldn't stick around. He needs his view numbers up so he can keep making money. So he just lets the video play. Now, he and Hassan also does the same thing on Twitch. He'll get up, leave, and let a YouTube video play that somebody else made. And he won't react to it at all. He'll just leave. There's a reason why that meme exists, where it says live Hassan reaction is just an empty chair. And so there was like all this outrage over XQC, and XQC basically responded by saying, well, if Let Me Know didn't like it, he can just, do a copyright strike on me, or a copyright claim, and I could just take the video down. I was like, yeah, he could do that if he has the tools to do so. Not every YouTuber has copyright toolbox to go to, like, say, a record label where they can claim content. So we don't know if Let Me Know has it or not. He's never made it known whether or not he has it. But considering he's just a YouTuber, not part of a network or a publisher or anything, he probably doesn't have access to that. So, it's basically up to Let Me Know to reach out and contact XQC and tell him, I don't like you posting my content, your reaction to my content on YouTube. So that's like a whole different thing. He could take him to court if he wants to, but it's really not worth it. But the onus is still on XQC to not do the bad thing in the first place. And Let Me Know can't stop XQC from streaming his video on Kick. What is Let Me Know supposed to do now when you're just streaming it on Kick for everybody to see? He's like, oh, well, they get paid like exposure. It helps boost the video. Well, XQC reacted to another video by a YouTuber by the name of Neo, who was talking about the Kowloon Walled City. And that's another great video you should definitely go watch. Links to Let Me Know's video and Neo's video down below in the description and pinned comment. Unlike some people, I actually list my sources. But anyway, Neo saw this, that it was being streamed on Kick, and then he posted his own analytics and showed there was no boost. There was no XQC boost. That video kept trudging along like it had been. There was no noticeable impact from XQC reacting to it on Kick or whatever. For his thousands of viewers at that time to watch his reaction to it. None of them stopped watching the stream to go watch the video for themselves on YouTube. And XQC got up like after 5 seconds of the video running and fucked off for 10 minutes. And then came back and then made fun of the fact that he hadn't been reacting or anything. And he said, oh, well, nobody uploaded this to YouTube. Nobody uploaded this to YouTube. But that's not the problem, XQC. The problem is not you uploading it to YouTube. The problem is you stealing views by just streaming it on Twitch or on Kick. The XQC also had to have it explained to him by the Kick staff that, hey, you can't stream The Dark Knight and react to it. That's copyright infringement. It's copyright infringement when it's Warner Brothers content. It's copyright infringement when it's Neo's content. They own the copyright to that. You can't just stream it and then quote-unquote react to it and then hope to holy heaven that Kick isn't going to just bring the hammer down and not ban you. Which, by the way, they'll never ban XQC no matter how egregious his violations are, because they paid so much money to get him. They're not going to ban him no matter what he does. And of course, XQC acts like he can do no wrong, because he knows that he's not going to get banned because there's so much money tied up with him. It's like the Paul brothers. They know YouTube's never going to ban them or take any major action against them because YouTube has too much money wrapped up in them. And so all these people call out XQC, and then XQC realizes that Neo doesn't like what he did on Twitter. He's like, oh, well, was it uploaded to YouTube? No? Well, what's the problem? What's the problem? The problem is you fucking streaming it, you fucking idiot. It's amazing you have to, explain this to this fucking man-child, and he still can't get it. And then he has, this debate with Ethan Klein, which completely devolves into, utter nonsense. And you find out XQC's debating tactic is to literally just raise his voice and make as much noise as possible. And the thing is, I've seen people like XQC in real life. I think we've all seen somebody like that on Cops or Live PD or one of those type of shows, where we see this white trash dude who has never had anything go right in his life because he's basically torpedoed his own life so many times. And when the police come to get him for the obvious crime he committed, he acts like he didn't do anything wrong. Because in his mind, he hasn't done anything wrong. He can do no wrong. So when the police come to apprehend him, he freaks out and thinks they're being unreasonable, when in reality, he's the unreasonable one. And he thrashes around and fights the cops, tries to argue with them, and tries to say, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything. And that's XQC. That's him. He's just one of those white trash, crackhead motherfuckers that managed to get out of the trailer park. He figured out some way to make money, and by God, he's going to run it straight into the ground. And when he's caught doing something wrong, he's never going to admit that he was wrong. And he acts like a total fucking man-child that's never been told no in his life. What people see in him, why people give him $5 a month on Kick or whatever to subscribe, I have no clue. Hassan too. Hassan does the same thing. He's trying to react more. He is trying to clean up his act a little bit because even he knows this doesn't look good. But even then, he's just another one of these, champagne socialists that loves to talk a big game about, paying people and, power to the workers and all that. But here he is, streaming people's videos on Twitch and reacting to them. Just straight up stealing people's content as a content farm. And look, man, I know it's dog eat dog out there. You got to make money, get money where you can, but try not to step on other people's toes while you're fucking doing it. Especially if you're a goddamn millionaire. And you love to wear t-shirts that say tax the rich, eat the rich, and all this shit. And you're out here doing the exact bad thing that you're nominally against. And again, there are people that react to my YouTube videos, and I encourage people to do that. Heck, I think when we're both smaller channels, I think it could boost both of our online footprint a little bit, create this sort of feedback loop. But when you were talking about tens of millions of views and, a streamer that has millions of followers, there's oddly enough, with that many people involved, it's harder to really detect whether or not there is any boost one way or the other, whether you're paying people in exposure when you're reacting to it. I wish a lot of these big time streamers would kind of learn their lesson. I wish Kick and Twitch would hold these, idiots responsible, but they never will because they bring in too much money. Hassan brings in a lot of money to Twitch. I think a few years ago he was the #1 Twitch streamer on the platform. Like, it wasn't even close. And I know XQC is the biggest draw to Kick right now. Unfortunately, just like everywhere else, if you have enough money, you can get away with anything. And you can even get away with acting like a total man-child and thrashing around on the floor and doing the worm and making a complete ass of yourself. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on the whole XQC, Hassan, Twitch streamer react controversy that they had going on. Reactions. There are, real react channels that do a pretty good job, that do provide some good insight. I really like the ones where it's, an expert looking at a movie, like a former guy who used to rob banks is now, watching Heat and telling, what all the actors are doing right and what they're doing wrong. And, in a bank robbery, you would never actually do this. And, I actually got in this situation one time, and that's exactly how you do it and all that stuff. That's interesting. But when you're, fucking off to go eat some Cheerios or go take a shit, and you still have the video playing on your Twitch, that's just theft. It's just content theft is all it is. Anyway, try to be better. Try to, put out good content. Try to be a good person. Try not to take other people's intellectual property. And overall, have a good day. And don't be an asshat. And don't subscribe to Hassan or XQC or their ilk. Anyway, peace.